Level 1 Accidental Mutation. Some people get pimples during puberty. Others, they wake up halfway to becoming a crocodile, a gas cloud, or a human bat. This is Level 1, the unlucky corner of the superhero gene pool, where biology just went, yeah, let's freestyle this one. These are the folks whose powers weren't built in labs or granted by cosmic beings. Their bodies just decided to go off script during development, usually in the most chaotic way possible. Take Waylon Jones, better known as Killer Croc. Born with rare atavism, his DNA basically looked like humanity and said, nah, reptiles are cooler. His skin hardened into scales, his jaw evolved into a bone-crunching bite machine, and his muscles could bench press a car on a bad day. Early comics show him sprinting, biting, and regenerating like an apex predator that somehow wandered into Gotham's sewer system. He's not a science experiment. He's biology oopsie moment that got criminal tendencies. Then there's Rex Mason, aka Metamorpho, the man whose body decided to major in chemistry. After exposure to the Orb of Awe, which sounds like an overpriced NFT but is actually a mystical meteorite, his cells got scrambled into a living periodic table. His skin turned mineral, his organs became optional, and his party trick is turning parts of himself into elements, like metal, gas, or whatever the situation calls for. He's technically an edge case because the change came from one cosmic zap, but it's permanent enough that he probably hasn't sneezed normally since 1965. And finally, Dr. Kirk Langstrom, the guy who wanted to be Batman so badly, he accidentally became a Batman. His serum was supposed to give him sonar skills, but instead it rewired his entire body for flight. Bones stretched, arms sprouted wings, and his voice hit a pitch only dogs and crime fighters could hear. The transformation stuck around long enough to give him a whole career in accidental horror. His lab notes basically read like, "It worked too well. Send help." Level 1 mutations are all about bodies that changed from the inside out. These aren't cyborg add-ons. They're full-on anatomical reboots. The changes stick. Scales don't peel off, wings don't fold away neatly, and Rex can't exactly switch back to normal human mode. Their physiology isn't optimized like lab-grown heroes. It's messy, unpredictable, and painfully personal. So yeah, while other supers are born from high-tech experiments or divine energy, level 1s are the human equivalent of an evolutionary typo that refused to be deleted. Their biology hit shuffle, and the results were part tragedy, part nightmare fuel, and occasionally kind of awesome. In short, these are the people you don't invite to a pool party, unless you're okay with someone dissolving, flying away, or eating a lifeguard. Level 2, Chemical Augmentation. If level 1 is what happens when biology gets drunk, level 2 is what happens when chemistry joins the party with a bag of mysterious pills. This is the class of heroes and villains who didn't mutate, they marinated. Their powers came from chemical boosts, potions, or serums. Let's start with Bane, the undisputed king of chemical bulk. His secret weapon, Venom, isn't your gym bros pre-workout. It's a hyper-anabolic steroid with an instant Hulk mode feature. First shown in Batman Legends of the Dark Knight number 16 in 1991, Venom rewires Bane's physiology in seconds, with muscle fibers swelling, tendons fortifying, and his strength skyrocketing like Venezuela's inflation. He even wears a tube-fed pump system like a bodybuilder with a mobile IV drip. The moment he hits the boost button, it's game over for anybody nearby. But when the flow stops, it's like watching a balloon deflate in slow motion. His body crashes, his strength collapses, and the withdrawals hit harder than your juiced world playlist. Then there's Our Man and his miracle pill, Miracle-O. Back in Adventure Comics number 48 in 1940, Rex Tyler popped the first super pill in comic history, literally performance-enhancing drugs with a timer. One dose gives him an hour of super strength, speed, and durability. 60 minutes later, poof, back being to a guy with sore joints. The science behind it's fun, which is a metabolic overclock that burns ATP like a college student burning through caffeine during finals. It's efficient, temporary, and mildly concerning that it inspires decades of chemically dependent heroes. Next up is Blockbuster, or as I like to call him, what if a protein shake gained sentience? Mark Desmond juiced himself up in Detective Comics number 345 in 1965, hoping to boost his strength through chemistry. It worked, kinda. His serum supercharged his growth hormone so much that his body ballooned in size and power, but his brain didn't keep up. He became a walking tower of muscle with the speech skills of a dyslexic toddler. And then there's Chemo, who isn't a person so much as a walking chemical plant with anger issues. Debuting in Showcase number 39 in 1962, Chemo is literally a giant humanoid vat filled with corrosive toxins. He spits acid, leaks radiation, and absorbs chemical waste like it's a power-up. His physiology runs on toxic reactions instead of cells, basically a sentient hazard symbol. Level 2 characters show what happens when chemistry takes over the hero gig. These aren't genetic miracles, they're people, and occasional sludge monsters who found shortcuts to superhumanity through drugs, serums, or, in Chemo's case, industrial waste. Their powers wear off, break down, or melt through the floor depending on the dose. Level 3 Genetic Engineering. If Level 2 was all about pop and mystery serums, Level 3 is what happens when scientists decide, why stop at the pill when we can just build a person? This is the cloning and genetic engineering tier, the one where labs swap out chromosomes like trading cards and cook up full human beings in vats. No accidents, no spontaneous mutations, just straight up science, maybe with a side of attitude problem. The epicenter of all this mad science energy is Project Cadmus, DC's and honestly my favorite genetics factory. It first showed up in Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen number 133 in 1970, and if you imagine Area 51 mixed with biotech startup, you're basically there. I think Cadmus makes people the way Apple makes iPhones, which are in batches, with upgrades and occasional glitches. Their methods involve cloning chambers, accelerated growth pods, and genetic mosaics, meaning they sometimes mix DNA from humans, Kryptonians, and whoever else they can get a tissue sample from. Dr. Dabney Donovan was one of their early brainiacs, and later Paul Westfield took over as the guy in charge. Basically the corporate version of a mad scientist with budget. Here's the process in simple terms. Cadmus steals or recovers DNA, sticks it in a synthetic gene blender, patches up any species incompatibilities with lab magic, and then cooks the result in a tank until it looks human. They even speed up growth, I guess, so the clones don't have to deal with puberty. I don't know. These operations include viral vectors to rewrite tissues and fancy epigenetic programming to keep everything from falling apart, because apparently even clones need software updates. Their most famous product is Connor Kent, better known as Superboy. Born out of the adventures of Superman number 500 in 1993, Connor was Cadmus's attempt to replace Superman after his death. The problem? Pure Kryptonian DNA couldn't handle human conditions, so they blended it with human material, allegedly with Paul Westfield's, which is honestly so awkward in several moral dimensions. The result was a perfectly stable hybrid of Superman's powers dialed down to manageable levels. Cadmus accelerated his growth, trained him up fast, and sent him out as a teenage hero who could punch tanks but still had to figure out algebra. Then there's Bizarro, the world's least successful science project. His origin changes depending on the era, but the basic idea stays the same. Someone tries to clone Superman and ends up making a melted wax museum version. In Superboy number 68, he came from a duplicator ray gone wrong, and later stories had Lex Luthor or other scientists cooking him up from faulty cloning tech. The result? Inverted DNA expression, weird protein folding, and what I call a face that looks like clay left in the sun too long. Level 3 is where science stops being helpful and starts playing God with a clipboard. These characters weren't born, they were compiled. Their DNA was edited, copied, and reassembled until something vaguely human came out. I think it's both genius and horrifying at the same time. In short, if Project Cadmus ran 23andMe, we'd all have capes by next Tuesday. Level 4, Cybernetic Augmentation. If Level 3 were science playing God, Level 4 is science saying, forget God, let's install Bluetooth. This is where flesh meets firmware. The realm of cybernetics, androids, and people so upgraded they need a software patch to sneeze. Here the human body isn't modified, it's merged with machinery. Limbs are replaced by metal and thoughts synced to servers. First up, Victor Stone, aka Cyborg. His origin kicks off in DC Comics Presents number 26 in 1980 when a lab accident leaves him shredded beyond standard medical repair. His father, Dr. Silas Stone of Star Labs, decides to skip physical therapy and go straight to what I call Iron Man meets ICU. Victor's ruined body gets rebuilt with prosthetic limbs, hydraulic muscle replacements, and an internal computer system running on alien-grade metal known as promethium in later versions. Neural implants connect his brain directly to the machinery, translating thoughts into motion and converting sensory data into something his human mind can handle. He can lift tanks, shoot lasers, and see across multiple spectrums, but also browse the internet just by blinking, which probably makes him the most distracted superhero alive, especially if he likes watching this channel. Later storylines merge his system with alien motherbox tech, giving him control over boom tubes and the ability to hack anything. Basically, he's part man, part machine, and part IT department, which is insane. Then there's Amazo, the ultimate copycat from The Brave and the Bold, number 30 in 1960. Built by Professor Ivo, Amazo is an android with absorption cells, which is fancy tech that lets him duplicate the powers of anybody nearby. Superman's strength? Copied. Flash's speed? Copied. Wonder Woman's everything? Also copied. He's basically that kid in class who copies your homework and gets a higher grade, or someone who tells your joke louder and gets all the credit. His body reconfigures on the fly, adapting circuits and actuators to mimic other heroes' abilities. There's no magic involved, just terrifyingly efficient hardware that learns faster than your average goon duration. The only real limit is how much his body can handle before his processors overheat, which for Amazo takes a while. Rounding out this mechanical menagerie is the Red Tornado. Debuting in Justice League of America number 64 in 1968, it's an android built by Tio Moro, a guy whose name literally sounds like a tech company. Tornado's synthetic body houses turbines powerful enough to control air currents and create storms. He's a robot with feelings and a fan club, which is impressive for something powered by wind. Level 4 shows what happens when evolution gets outsourced to engineering. It's the future of humanity, if humanity were okay with being rebooted every morning. Level 5, nuclear and quantum experiments. If Level 4 was humans upgrading themselves with tech, Level 5 is what happens when humans accidentally become their own power plants. This is the tier where people survive nuclear blasts, fuse with quantum energy, or get cozy with forces that make your phone battery look like a candle. Their bodies aren't just enhanced. They're walking energy reactors, sometimes with a personality crisis on the side. Captain Atom, aka Nathaniel Atom, kicks things off with a literal bang. His first story in Space Adventures number 33 in 1960 shows him volunteering, or being volunteered, for a military test that basically says, sit in a metal coffin while we blow stuff up underneath you. The alien hull he's in isn't decoration. It catalyzes a plasma quantum field that bonds with his mass. When the nuke goes off, part of his body converts into energy, but his consciousness stays glued to it. The result? A man whose body is basically a portable nuclear reactor. He can blast, absorb, and even rearrange matter at the molecular level. Trauma that would shred a normal human just bounces off because his flesh is energy mediated. It's like turning a person into a walking cheat code for physics. Then there's Firestorm, a 2-for-1 energy addition. Ronnie Raymond, the high schooler, and Martin Stein, the physicist, gets caught in a reactor accident which fuses their bodies and minds into one glowing nuclear Swiss Army knife. First seen in Firestorm, the Nuclear Man number 1 in 1978, Firestorm formation is a chaotic energy superposition event. Their atomic structures recombine, creating a form that can transmute elements, fire energy blasts, and tweak density on the fly. Control switches between Ronnie and Stein, which leads to occasional teen angst, meets quantum mechanics. The Matrix keeps them solid while also being a reservoir of unstable atomic energy. Dr. Polaris, Neil Emerson, takes a slightly different route. He wasn't nuked, but he let his obsession with magnetism get extreme. In Green Lantern Volume 2, number 21 in 1963, Emerson exposes himself to intense magnetic fields using his own experimental gear until his body becomes a walking magnet. He can attract, repel, and levitate metal, or project magnetic force fields strong enough to toss cars. His nervous system rewires to become a resonant node for geomagnetic flux, so wherever he goes, metal objects basically takes his mood swings personally. On top of that, his obsession makes him slightly terrifying at both lab and subway stations. Level 5 is what happens when humans are treated with physics experiments in the hands of people who clearly failed chemistry class warnings. It's radiation, quantum weirdness, and raw energy fused to flesh, sometimes planned, sometimes accidental, always spectacular. Level 6, metagene and mystical manipulation. If level 5 was science lighting people on fire, level 6 is science and magic teaming up to light people's souls on fire. This level deals with experiments that mess directly with the brain, DNA, or the spiritual hard drive, sometimes all three at once. It's where scientists run physics stress tests while demons hold the clipboard. Some call it evolution, but I call it maybe we shouldn't have done that. Let's start with the alien nerds known as the Dominators. In the Invasion event in 1988, these guys run the universe's worst wellness retreat. Humans get kidnapped, caged, and tested under high-stress scenarios to see who pops off first. Their discovery? The metagene, a rare genetic switch that activates when a human is pushed to the absolute limit. The testing process is disturbingly systematic. They zap you with energy, pump you full of chemicals, toss you in death simulations, and log your stats like it's a cosmic version of the Hunger Games. The survivors end up manifesting powers while everyone else becomes alien lab waste. Then comes 1993's Bloodlines, a horror movie disguised as a superhero crossover. Alien parasites land on Earth and start feeding on spinal fluid. Charming. When one of them bites into a person with a dormant metagene instead of dinner, they get a walking superhuman explosion. The trauma, electric shock, and biochemical chaos of the attack flip the metagene into overdrive, creating brand new heroes. It's evolution via alien vampire accident, which I like to call natural selection with way too much slime. Lex Luthor, of course, couldn't resist joining the gene activation party. In 52, he launches the Everyman Project, a Power of Everyone initiative that's basically a subscription service for superpowers. People line up, get injected with an engineered exogene, and wait for their abilities to kick in. It works, until Luthor decides he wants control. The exogene comes with a hidden kill switch, meaning Luthor can turn off your powers anytime. It's corporate biotechnology meets villainy with HR approval. Now, shift gears to the occult side where science hands the mic to demons. Raven's story begins with a cosmic red flag. Her mom gets magically impregnated by the demon Trigon, and baby Raven inherits a built-in soul connection to pure evil. The monks of Azarath try to keep her stable through ritual training, meditation, empathy control, and emotional lockdown drills. Basically, Raven grows up in a mystical lab where, instead of electrodes, she's surrounded by chanting monks and soul seals designed to keep her father's influence at bay. It works. Most days. And then there's Dr. Destiny, aka John D., who decided dreaming wasn't powerful enough until he could weaponize it. Using the Materiopticon, D builds a machine that syncs with the subconscious and makes dreams real. His experiments start with simple mental projections, but quickly escalate to full-on psychic nightmares leaking into reality. Imagine your worst dream coming true, then multiply it by everyone else's in the same city. Level 6 is where science runs out of equations and starts lighting candles in Latin. It's part lab, part seance, and entirely bad for your mental health. Level 7, weaponized evolution. Level 7 is where science completely stops pretending to care about ethics and starts doing CrossFit with evolution. It's not about creating one perfect hero anymore. It's about cranking out an army of walking WMDs who can punch through tanks, satellites, or entire civilizations before you even wake up in the morning. This is mass-produced monstrosity, wrapped in lab coats, funded by the worst people imaginable, and managed like a very evil startup. Let's start with the poster child for bad ideas taken way too far, Doomsday. Imagine a Kryptonian scientist named Bertrand decided that regular evolution's too slow, so he fast-tracks it with the most violent method possible. His process? Clone a creature, throw it into Krypton's prehistoric death zone, watch it get eaten, then scrape up what's ever left and clone it again. Each cycle gets meaner, tougher, and more impossible to kill. The lab scenes basically look like nature documentaries directed by a serial killer. After countless rounds of death, Bertrand creates a being so unkillable that even Superman ends up needing a funeral. Doomsday isn't just evolved, he's overcooked. His body remembers every way he's ever died and refuses to die that way again. It's evolution by trauma, and the result is a creature with zero chill and maximum bone spikes. Then there's Brother Eye and its army of OMACs, which is short for One-Man Army Corps. The satellite AI scans the planet, picks unlucky humans, and turns them into metal-clad drones in seconds. It's not transformation so much as a hijacking. Nanotech floods the body, rearranging flesh into armor and wiring muscles into an AI command network. One second you're grabbing coffee, the next you're a flying death machine getting firmware updates mid-battle. The most chilling part? Brother Eye can switch you off anytime it wants. It's like a Bluetooth connection from hell, turning people into obedient, armored avatars of Big Brother himself. I like to imagine it's as joining a gym where the membership includes losing your free will. And then there's Brainiac, the intergalactic collector with a hoarding problem and a god complex. He doesn't make super soldiers one at a time. He mass produces them like toys. First, he bottles entire cities or civilizations, shrinks them down, scans their DNA, and improves them through cold, mechanical redesign. Then he rebuilds those populations into obedient biodrones, each fitted with neural control nodes so he can pilot them like puppets. His labs are equal parts museum, factory, and nightmare. The result? Entire species turn into data-driven soldiers whose only purpose is to serve their collector. It's evolution rebranded as industrial production. Level 7 isn't about creating life. It's about managing inventory. It's the kind of science that looks at humanity and says, we could scale this. Whether it's Bertrand's death loops, Brother Eye's hive mind, or Brainiac's bottled civilizations, this is the point where creation turns into a spreadsheet. That's it for this one. If you liked the video, hit that like button, subscribe for more, and ring the bell so you never miss a drop. Craving more stories from comics, movies, and beyond? Check out this video right here. Cheers, and see you in the next one.